What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Retrospective here, back at it with a brand new video today. I wanted to discuss a little bit of differences between riding with a passenger versus riding without a passenger. So let's get right into it. So if this is one of your first time watching one of my videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button below, as well as that bell, so that way you get notified of whenever I upload a brand new video. We're probably going to catch this red light up ahead, but who cares, really? So right now we're just going to get into some of the things that you're going to have to adjust if you're going to ride two up, or if you're going to have a passenger riding on the back seat. First things are obvious is going to be these pegs right here. You're going to make sure that those are in good shape. I need to fix this because this is scraping. But you're going to want to make sure that these pegs are sturdy and bolted into place properly for their seat to be cushiony or the ride to be easy. Next thing you're going to want to adjust is the tire pressure, and there should be a little sticker right on your swing arm or somewhere on your bike telling you what the tire pressure should be for if passenger's on. If not, just check your owner's manual. And then the other thing would be the preload on your suspension. You just want to either tighten it or loosen it based on how much weight you're adding, basically, and so that way it's either a little bit sturdy based on a little bit more weight, or if you have somebody else riding, then you can even adjust it to less weight. So if you watch that little clip that I just showed you where we were pretty much just sitting in the parking lot, you would learn a few things that you're going to need to adjust before you even have a passenger on the back. But while you're riding, there's a few things that you need to pay attention to and do a little bit differently than you normally would when you're riding by yourself. When you're taking turns or corners, you need to take them a little bit slower and a little bit wider than you normally would, because you have a little bit more weight, and it kind of transfers a little strangely. If you ever taken an MSF course, you know how the physics work out and how the physics apply, but the difference in weight and tire pressure and suspension basically settings to your bike can change the way you lean in corners and basically how you travel and the way your bike feels when you're riding. So another thing a lot of bikers like to do, because they're most of the time not riding with another person, or maybe their bike doesn't have a two-seater, maybe it's only a one-seater, is they'll eliminate their rear pegs, so that way it just looks a little bit more sleek and a little bit more sharp without those pegs. And you can even put on like little I think it's peg blockers or something like that, and it kind of cleans up the rear end of the bike a little bit. But it's not really necessary. If you're gonna have another rider on the back, then you're gonna need those pegs, so that way they can stabilize themselves. Also, another thing to take into consideration is a lot of bikers like to remove their rear seat and make it a one-seater, which does improve the quality of how it looks, but the function isn't there. There's no function to that rear cowl or that rear seat cover if there's nothing there to make it a pleasant ride for your passenger, or at least a comfortable one. But really, those key elements that I talked about in that parking lot portion of the video are what you're going to be paying attention to and what you're going to be adjusting. Everything else, just you'll pick it up as you go, and you'll feel the differences when you start to ride with a passenger on the back. If there's anything I've forgotten, it's that when you're basically hitting your brakes, you're going to want to hit them a little bit softer than you normally would, and then you're going to want to apply them harder over a longer duration of time, because that extra weight on the rear of your motorcycle kind of drags you a little bit farther of a distance, and when you apply the brakes, it's not as, you don't want to apply it abruptly, because it's easier to pretty much mess up that way, and then if you slowly apply it and then gradually increase the force of grip that you're applying, then you'll eventually slow down and come to a complete stop safely. But what I was saying was, if you're coming out of a green light, or if you're coming out of a stop sign, or basically if you're coming out of a stop position like a parking spot or a parking lot in general, Basically the bike's not moving. If you're starting to go, you don't want to immediately put your feet up because you're not going to have good balance with two people like you normally do with one person. So you're gonna take a little bit slower getting to that, like letting go of that friction zone in your clutch. But you pretty much just slowly release that and gradually gain momentum. That's the best way to come out of a starting position. We got a nice little farm area on the side here. It's pretty cool. And for some reason we got people stopped up ahead, so we should pay attention. I mean, I'm not that far, like I'm not close enough behind them, but always gotta pay attention and be alert on a motorcycle, especially with this car right here. I don't know if he was trying to go or what he was doing, but I was not trying to be in the middle of that intersection when he did it. But it's just a lot of things you have to look out for on a motorcycle, and when you have a passenger, you have to be 10 times extra careful because their life is so much more fragile than yours is. Being in basically cockpit position, you don't go as far as they would. They would pretty much be ejected off of the bike, off the rear end, like a horse bucking someone off of them and launching them. Now, believe it or not, you can still travel a pretty good distance and get a lot of air like I did in my accident. And I was still only in the front seat of the bike. If someone was on my rear seat, they would have went either 2-3 times as farther as I would have had probably 40% more damage to their body and in general than I would. The reason I moved over there is because there's a bicyclist on that side of the road, and all the cars were coming over a little bit to pass him. And I said, all right, that's fine. You can give him a little bit more safety. See, I don't mind things like that, like little things like that, but when you're like lazily drifting into my lane, then it's kind of an issue because you need to pay attention. As always, everybody, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like below, as well as a comment telling me what was your favorite part. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and go ahead and ring my bell as well, so that way you get notified whenever I upload a brand new video. Until next time, this was your boy Retrospective here, and you guys ride safe and stay classy.